I wasn't supposed to be there. Let me explain. I don't do work events. Never have. My wife, Natalie, works for a big tech firm, and every quarter they have one of those casual team lunches, the kind where you're supposed to act like everyone's just friends and nothing personal is ever discussed. But I knew better. I knew it was always more than that. These were the kind of events where people whispered things behind closed doors, where people said things they wouldn't say in front of their families. So when Natalie asked me, insisted I come to this one, I almost said no. But she was persistent. She wanted me there. And maybe I was just too tired of fighting about little things, or maybe I just wanted to make her happy. So, reluctantly, I agreed. What I didn't know, what I could never have predicted, was that this one lunch would unravel everything I thought I knew about my marriage. We were supposed to meet at this upscale restaurant downtown, one of those trendy places with the dim lighting and tiny, overpriced dishes that you're meant to describe with words like delicate and refined. The kind of place where you get a tiny portion of food on a huge plate, and they expect you to be impressed. Honestly, I hated places like that, but I tried to keep my mood in check. I remember arriving a little early. I sat down at the bar and had a drink. I tried to blend in, but I couldn't help but feel out of place. The people there, they were so together. Everyone looked polished, like they belonged in this shiny world. And then there was me, just a guy, with a rumpled shirt and too much on his mind, trying to not feel completely invisible. Natalie walked in about 15 minutes later. She was dressed to kill. The kind of outfit that made heads turn. A simple black dress, nothing too fancy, but it fit her perfectly, as always. But something about her smile that day was off. There was something behind it, like a secret she was trying to keep locked away. She kissed me on the cheek, as usual, and introduced me to a few of her coworkers. I smiled, tried to be polite, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing. We sat down, and I noticed that one of her teammates, let's call him Greg, kept giving me these glances. At first, I thought it was just in my head, but as the lunch wore on, I realized it wasn't just me. Natalie laughed a little too hard at Greg's jokes. Every time he spoke, her attention was sharp, focused. It wasn't like the way she spoke to the other people at the table. It wasn't just casual chatter, it was something more. I shouldn't have noticed it. I should have just enjoyed the lunch, been the supportive husband, and gone home. But I didn't. I watched them. Every exchange between them felt charged, like there was a hidden current of something I couldn't name. And then came the moment that made me wish I had never agreed to come. Greg, always the loud one, was talking about an upcoming project at work. His voice was animated, and he leaned forward, elbows on the table like he was the king of the room. He was talking about how everything was falling into place with the project, how the team was really clicking. It seemed innocent enough, but then he dropped a line that I'll never forget. You know, Nat, he said, laughing a little too much. I've always appreciated how you make everything look so effortless. It's like we were a team before we even started working together. Huh? The table went quiet for a moment. It was like the air shifted. I swear, for a split second, everything stopped. Natalie froze. Her hand, which had been casually resting on her wine glass, tightened around it, just a little. I could see the muscles in her jaw twitch. I knew that look. She was trying to hide something, trying to make it seem like nothing was wrong. But Greg wasn't done. His voice dropped, just enough for me to hear it clearly, but not enough for anyone else at the table to catch it. His words were almost casual, but there was something in them that hit me like a ton of bricks. Guess some of us know how to keep our personal lives balanced, huh? I mean, it's all about knowing what works. You know what I mean, right? That was it. I could feel the room constrict around me, like the air had thickened, and I suddenly couldn't breathe. It wasn't just the words, but the way he said them, the intent behind them. It wasn't an innocent remark. It wasn't just office humor. It was something else entirely. Natalie's face flushed. She forced a laugh, but it was strained, and I could see the panic in her eyes. She glanced at me, then quickly looked away, trying to change the subject. But I wasn't stupid. I heard it. I saw it. And I couldn't ignore it. Greg had said something he shouldn't have, and I wasn't going to let it slide. I don't know what exactly snapped inside me, but as soon as Greg made that comment, everything changed. The room didn't feel the same. It felt smaller, and I felt myself shrinking. You could tell by the sudden silence at the table that everyone felt it too. But no one said anything. No one wanted to say anything. Natalie quickly tried to steer the conversation away. awkwardly laughing and pretending like it was just another joke. But the damage was already done. I wasn't stupid. I knew exactly what he was insinuating. And that was when I realized this wasn't just some innocent office banter. This was personal. Greg had thrown down some kind of challenge, and Natalie had reacted the way someone does when they're caught in a lie. Her face was flushed, but she quickly masked it with a forced smile. The moment I locked eyes with her, I saw it. The guilt. The discomfort. It was in her eyes, in the way she avoided my gaze. I stayed quiet, but inside, my mind was racing. I tried to stay calm, pretending everything was fine. I forced myself to nod along as Natalie and Greg laughed about some new project, but I wasn't listening anymore. I couldn't. My thoughts were consumed by what Greg had just said, and the look that passed between him and Natalie. It was like they had a secret, a shared moment that no one else in that room could see. I wanted to ask her about it then and there, but something stopped me. It wasn't just fear. It was the overwhelming sense that I already knew the answer, and I didn't want to hear it out loud. After the lunch, Natalie and I walked out together. She was chattering away about how great the team was, how much they had to look forward to. I was barely hearing her. My brain was stuck on the conversation at the table, on Greg's words, on the way they looked at each other. We reached the car, and she unlocked the door, looking at me with that smile. The same one she always wore when she was trying to keep things normal. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. "Everything okay?" she asked, slipping into the passenger seat and putting on her seatbelt. I hesitated for a moment. The question was simple enough, but I could already feel the tension building inside me. Something about the way she asked it, so casually, made me question everything. Did she think I was stupid? Did she think I wouldn't notice? "Yeah, I'm fine," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. But I knew it sounded forced. She looked over at me, her eyes softening. "Are you sure? You've been kind of quiet all afternoon." I couldn't take it anymore. I turned to her, not bothering to hide the frustration in my voice. "Why did he say that, Nat?" I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. Why did Greg say what he said back there? Her eyes widened for a second, just a brief flicker, but it was enough to send a chill down my spine. She quickly looked away, pretending to focus on the road. "Greg?" she said, her voice too casual. "Oh, he's just Greg being Greg. He's always like that. You know how he jokes around." But I wasn't buying it. Not for a second. Something in the way she said it felt wrong. The way she avoided my eyes. The way she kept fidgeting with her fingers. "Come on, Nat." I pressed, my voice rising. "It's not just a joke. You've been working with him for months. And today, that looked like something else. We don't joke like that. You don't joke like that with someone you work with." She swallowed hard, her face tightening. I could tell she was trying to keep her composure, but the cracks were starting to show. "I'm not sure what you want me to say, Ryan," she said, her voice a little sharper now. "You're overthinking it. Greg doesn't mean anything by it. It's just his way." I didn't buy it, and I wasn't going to let her brush it off. Not this time. "His way? Really?" I said, my voice low but intense. "Is that really all it is?" She didn't answer right away. The silence between us felt suffocating. I could see her hands gripping the seatbelt, her knuckles white. It was clear that she was struggling to keep her calm. "I don't know what you want from me, Ree," she finally muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's nothing. Just forget it." But I couldn't forget it. Not now. Not after what I'd seen. I knew she was hiding something. And that feeling in my chest, that gut instinct, told me I wasn't imagining it. The rest of the drive home was quiet. Too quiet. Natalie kept glancing at me, but each time she did, her eyes seemed to quickly shift away, like she didn't want me to see something she wasn't ready to reveal. I could feel the tension growing thicker between us, like it was a thing, alive, suffocating us both. When we finally got inside, I was too worked up to just drop it. I had to know. "Did something happen between you and Greg?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "Before the lunch, or after?" Because that comment, "Nat, it wasn't just a joke. And you know it." She froze. I could see her hesitation, the way her shoulders stiffened. She wasn't ready for this conversation, but I wasn't letting it go. "Not now. I told you," she said, trying to keep her voice even, but I could hear the tremor in it. "It's nothing. Just office banter." "Banter? That's not banter, Nat. I don't even know what that is." My voice cracked, the frustration building. "You laughed at it. You didn't even bat an eye when he made that comment. And now you're trying to tell me it's nothing?" She crossed her arms defensively. I don't know what you want from me. I told you it's nothing. I swear. But I wasn't convinced. I knew what I'd seen, what I'd felt. There was more here, something she wasn't telling me. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't trust her. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I'd overlooked. How much I'd just let slide because I didn't want to believe my wife, the woman I'd been with for 6 years, could be hiding something. But I couldn't unsee it. Greg's words, his smile, the way they exchanged glances when they thought no one was looking. I needed answers, and if Natalie wasn't going to give them to me, then I'd have to find them elsewhere. I couldn't shake the feeling. It gnawed at me for hours, eating away at my peace. Natalie tried to keep things normal. She made dinner, we ate, we talked about the usual things, but there was a palpable distance between us. It was like I could feel the wall she was building, brick by brick, every time she avoided my questions or gave me a quick, dismissive answer. That night, I lay in bed beside her, pretending to sleep. She was facing away from me, her breathing even, as if nothing was wrong. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept replaying Greg's words in my head, over and over, trying to make sense of them. It was the way he had said them, the way he'd leaned in just a little too close. He hadn't been joking. There was something more behind it. At 2 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I quietly got up, grabbed my phone from the dresser, and began scrolling through Natalie's texts. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was invading her privacy, but the suspicion was eating me alive. I wasn't proud of it, but I had to do something. I needed to find the truth, whatever it was. I started with the group chats. Nothing unusual, work-related stuff, plans for meetings, a few harmless jokes. But then I came across a thread between her and Greg. It was mostly work-related, but there was something unsettling about the tone of their messages. There was one text that stood out, sent at 10:45 p.m. the night before the lunch. I could feel my pulse quicken as I read it. Greg, I can't stop thinking about how perfect you look today. Wish I could have stayed longer. It was harmless enough, right? Except for the part where she didn't just reply with a simple, professional thanks, or it was good to see you. No, she wrote back with a smiley face and something else. Natalie, next time, maybe we can grab dinner after, just the two of us? It hit me like a punch to the gut. I knew she had been close with Greg at work, but this? It felt like more than just a friendship. I kept scrolling, my hands shaking. There were more messages like that. Little moments of flirtation buried beneath the surface of work talk. The more I read, the more I realized how much I had missed, how much I had ignored. And that's when I found it, the message that made my stomach drop. Greg, you know what I want, Nat. We both know what this is. Let's stop pretending. The message had been sent just hours before the lunch. I could barely breathe. My mind was racing. How had I missed all of this? How had I been so blind? I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but something stopped me. I knew that if I went to her now, it wouldn't just be about Greg anymore. It would be about me, too. About the trust we'd lost, the cracks I had ignored. And I wasn't ready for that conversation. Not yet. I put my phone down, trying to steady my breathing. I had to think. I had to plan. There was more to this story than just a few harmless texts, and I wasn't going to let Greg, or Natalie, make me look like a fool. The next few days were the longest of my life. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen. The messages, the flirtation, the clear tension between Natalie and Greg. My mind kept racing with questions, none of which had answers. Every time I looked at Natalie, I saw a stranger. A woman who had been hiding something right under my nose for months. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I told myself I needed to be calm, to think this through carefully. I couldn't just charge in and accuse her of something without knowing the whole truth. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had seen it. The way she smiled at him, the way she looked away when I asked about it, the way she had responded to his texts. There was something between them, something that shouldn't have been there. I tried to keep up appearances, to act like everything was fine. We went to dinner, we talked about our day, we laughed about the usual things, but the silence between us was deafening. It was like we were both pretending. I was pretending everything was normal, and she was pretending she hadn't just broken my trust. Then came the day I decided I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I had to confront her. I couldn't let this festering doubt consume me any longer. It was Friday evening, and we had just gotten back from a quick trip to the store. She was unloading the groceries, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I knew this was it, the moment I'd been dreading. I couldn't stand it any longer. Natalie, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She turned, looking at me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Yeah, she replied, like everything was fine. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I know about you and Greg. Her face went blank for a split second, and I saw the smallest flicker of fear in her eyes before she masked it with a shrug. What do you mean? You know what I mean, I said, my voice a little sharper now. The messages, the texts you've been sending, the things he said to you, the way he looks at you. I'm not blind, Natalie. Her smile faltered, and she dropped the apple she was holding into the basket with a soft thud. For a moment, we just stared at each other. I could see the wheels turning in her head, like she was trying to decide how to handle this. She took a step back, crossing her arms defensively. It's not what you think. I couldn't believe it. Not what I think. Are you kidding me? You've been flirting with him, Natalie. He said things to you. Things that you didn't even try to hide. How long has this been going on? She looked away, her lips pressed together in that tight, frustrated way she did when she was trying not to lose control. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said quietly. It's complicated, okay? It's not what you think. My mind was spinning. Not what I think. What was that supposed to mean? If it wasn't what I thought, then why was she avoiding the question? Why was she acting like she had no idea why I was upset? You're telling me you didn't mean it? I said, my voice cracking. You didn't mean to send him those texts? You didn't mean to smile at him like that? You didn't mean to let him get close to you? She closed her eyes, her face turning pale. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt you. But she had. She had hurt me. And I was done being the guy who just let it slide. I'm done, Natalie, I said, my voice trembling now. I don't know what's going on between you two, but I can't just stand here pretending like nothing's happening. You need to tell me the truth. Now. She took a shaky breath and finally looked at me. It's complicated, she repeated, her voice softer now. I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't want to hurt you. I swear. I felt like I was going to explode. I had been patient. I had been understanding. I had given her every chance to come clean, to tell me the truth. And yet, here I was, still standing in front of her, asking the same damn questions I'd asked 100 times. Tell me the truth, Natalie. Everything. I demanded, my eyes burning with frustration. And for the first time in days, she didn't look away. She didn't offer another excuse. Instead, she just stood there, silent, like she was waiting for me to figure it out on my own. The silence between us felt like an eternity. My pulse was pounding in my ears, every second stretching out longer than the last. Natalie stood there, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. I could see the fight in her, the urge to tell me everything, to make it stop. But she didn't say a word. It was like she was waiting for me to be the one to crack, to be the one to back down. But I couldn't. I had to know the truth. I needed to understand why she was acting this way, why she had let it go this far. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. It was just a few texts. Nothing more. I promise. I couldn't believe it. A few texts. Natalie, are you seriously still lying to me? This isn't just about a few texts, and you know it. This is about the way you looked at him. The way you smiled at him like you were. Into him. Her eyes flickered, and for a brief moment, I saw guilt. Real, raw guilt. It was like she couldn't keep pretending anymore. But she still didn't say anything. I took a step closer, my frustration mounting. Tell me everything. Now. Don't hold back. Please. She exhaled slowly, looking like she was making a decision. Then, finally, she met my gaze. I didn't want this to happen. I never meant for it to go this far. But Greg. He's always been there. And I don't know when it started, but it did. It just happened. My heart dropped. It just happened? That's how you're going to explain this? She shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. It wasn't planned. But we got closer, and one thing led to another. I didn't want to hurt you. I swear, I didn't want this. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what she was saying. My mind was racing, but it felt like I couldn't catch my breath. I had suspected, but hearing her admit it, hearing her say it out loud, it was a gut punch. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but all I could do was stand there, trying to keep my composure. Why? I finally managed to ask. Why, Greg? Why not talk to me first? You could have told me anything. She wiped her eyes, her voice trembling. I didn't know how to. It was easier to talk to him. I was confused. And I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I felt a wave of anger wash over me. A mistake? You think this is just some mistake? Her face crumpled. I know it sounds like one, but it wasn't like that. We were just talking. But I started feeling something, and I didn't know how to stop it. I turned away, trying to process her words. So you did feel something for him, I whispered. The reality of it hit me all at once. She was silent, but I didn't need her to say anything. Her silence was all the answer I needed. Her silence was deafening. It filled the room like a heavy fog, and I could hardly breathe. I wasn't sure what hurt more, the fact that she'd been hiding this from me, or the realization that I'd been completely blind to it. For so long, I had trusted her, thought she was the one person who wouldn't betray me. But here we were, and everything felt like it was crumbling around me. I turned back to face her, trying to keep the tears at bay. You've been lying to me this whole time, I said, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. All this time, you've been telling me everything was fine, and it wasn't. You've been with him, Natalie. You've been lying, and now you're telling me it's just talking? She flinched at my words, but she didn't try to argue. She knew it was too late for that. I never meant for it to go this far, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to ruin what we had. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, like something had just broken. And yet here we are, I said, my voice trembling. You've already ruined it, haven't you? It's all gone now. I can't just forget what you've done. She took a step toward me, her eyes pleading. Please, don't say that. I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you, Ryan. I love you. I do. I made a mistake, but it doesn't mean I don't love you. I wanted to believe her. Part of me did. But another part of me, the part that had been watching, that had seen the way she acted around him, the way she'd hid the truth from me for so long, couldn't just let it go. I wasn't that naive anymore. You love me. I repeated, my voice low. How could you love me and do this to me? How could you hide this from me? Act like everything was fine while you were with him? She looked away, the guilt in her eyes too much to hide. I don't know. I was confused. I didn't know how to fix it. But I never stopped loving you, Ryan. I swear. The words hung in the air, and for a moment, I wasn't sure what to say. Was it possible for someone to love you and still betray you so deeply? Could love really survive something like this? I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I didn't have the answers. Not yet. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't just walk away without figuring it out. Then fix it, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Tell me how you fix something like this. Tell me how you undo everything you've done. She shook her head, the tears falling freely now. I don't know if I can, she admitted. But I'll try. I swear I'll try. I didn't know if I believed her. Maybe I wanted to. Maybe I wanted to believe that this could be fixed, that we could move past this. But deep down, I knew it wasn't going to be that simple. The room was suffocating. I stood there, staring at Natalie, who was now sobbing uncontrollably. I could see the pain in her eyes, but I couldn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. The trust had been shattered, and no amount of tears or apologies could fix it. I had to make a choice. And for once, it wasn't about her. It was about me. I can't keep doing this, Nat, I said, my voice steady. I can't live in a relationship where I'm constantly questioning if I'm enough for you. I can't pretend everything's fine while you keep lying to me. Her face twisted in confusion. What are you saying? Please don't leave me. I stepped back, the finality of the moment sinking in. I'm not leaving, but I can't stay in a marriage built on lies either. If you want to fix this, it starts with honesty. Real honesty. And it starts now. She wiped her eyes and tried to compose herself, but I could tell she wasn't ready to face the consequences. She was still thinking about how to save herself, to salvage her own pride. But I wasn't going to be her backup plan anymore. I went to the other room and grabbed my phone, knowing exactly what I needed to do. I found Greg's number, the same one I had memorized after seeing the texts. I hesitated for only a second before pressing call. It rang twice before he picked up, his voice casual. Hey man, what's up? I know about you and Natalie, I said, my voice calm. I know everything. The messages, the flirtation, the lies. You've been playing a dangerous game. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Look, man, I don't know what you think you know. I know exactly what I know. I cut him off. And I'm not going to let you get away with this. I'm done being the one who looks like a fool. I'm giving you a choice. Tell her you're done with whatever this is, or I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what's been going on. The whole office. All of it. I didn't wait for his response. I hung up, knowing I had just drawn my line in the sand. When I walked back into the living room, Natalie was still sitting there, her face pale. She looked at me like she was waiting for something, maybe forgiveness, maybe an explanation, but I wasn't going to give it to her. "Greg's done with you," I said flatly. "You can play the victim all you want, but you're the one who got yourself into this mess. And now it's time for you to face it." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I could see the realization hit her, the shame, the fear. And for the first time, she wasn't in control of the situation. "I don't want you to leave," she said in a shaky voice, trying to regain some ground. "I can fix this, I promise. I'll do anything." I looked at her, not with anger, but with an overwhelming sense of clarity. "No, you won't. You'll fix it for you. You'll fix it to save face. But I don't think you even know how to fix what's been broken. And I'm done pretending." I turned around, heading for the door. It wasn't a dramatic exit. I wasn't looking for closure or a grand statement. It wasn't about revenge, either. It was about finding peace. And as I stepped out of the door, I realized something. I was free. Free from the doubts, the lies, the betrayal. I didn't need her approval anymore to feel whole. I was taking control of my life again, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe. Weeks later, I found out that Greg, like I said, ended things with her, and the gossip at her office didn't help her reputation. As for Natalie, she was left to deal with the fallout of her own actions. She tried reaching out to me several times, sending messages filled with apologies and promises of change, but I didn't respond. I wasn't the same person who had fallen for her smile or her charm. I didn't need her to fix me. I had already done that on my own. And as for karma, well, it has a way of taking care of things. Natalie never did get her happy ending. Greg moved on, and she was left to face the reality of what she had done, to herself, to me, and to her own sense of self-worth. I found peace, and in the end, that's all that mattered.